What's up, you guys? Godzilla Fan Freaks coming at you today with another figure review. And today we are going to be taking a look at the Masters of the Universe Revelations Masterverse figure of Skeletor from the Netflix Revelation series. Just to state, the Revelation series was a mixed bag for me. I didn't really like the first part. The second part really brought everything together, but still, just with everything that went on with Kevin Smith and lying about certain things, and the show was actually what everybody thought it was going to be, it really just kind of killed it and made it not as enjoyable. Killing off a lot of our beloved characters. Granted, there was a reason, and pretty much everybody kind of came back. Spoilers, but still, the Revelations wasn't really, it's not the top of my list for things that I love. I like it as a whole, but still there's things that I really don't like about it. But the figure line for this series is fantastic. I love the figures. They look great. So let's just start off. I don't have all of the figures from the line because I don't want every single one. But I do have ones that I did want. And let's just kick it off here with my favorite character of all time in Masters of the Universe, Skeletor. Can never have enough Skeletor. At least I can't. Let's just get straight on into this figure with paint applications. Let me go ahead and get his Havoc staff out of the way. Again, the rest of his accessories are put away, and I didn't really feel like digging them out. So you're only going to get what you see here. He does come with another staff called the Shaping Staff or Transformation Staff or something like that. It's basically so he can like disguise himself as someone else. But so yeah, just going to be reviewing the basic Skeletor here with his Havoc Staff. Just FYI. So anyway, paint apps. Skeletor. Awesome. Looks great. Colors. As far as his skin goes, it's not as a bright light blue as we know Skeletor to be, but it's still a light, like grayish blue, which is pretty much what his color scheme was in the show. Might have been just maybe a little bit brighter, but still, it looks really good for this Skeletor. As far as his armor pieces and whatnot, you're still sporting a lot of those same purples, light purples, darker purples, in the middle purples, black down here for his loincloth. No boots this time around. He just has his shin guards, which are a purple. And then, of course, on his feet, he's got black claws for his, toenails. And then his fingernails are also painted a black. And also, I did fix my camera, no longer having the non-focus issues. It was in my settings, and I guess last time I had to update my camera, it turned all the settings to, I guess, a default. So the autofocus was not on. So that was kind of annoying to find that out. Like, I don't know why it just defaulted to turn it off. But now that I know that, next time it has an update, I'll be sure to go check my settings before I start recording any videos. So I apologize for the last few reviews before this guy with it not focusing. I was contemplating on going back and redoing those figure reviews, but I just did not have the energy for it, and I was more annoyed at technology. So, and I was like, they still came out decent. So that's why I just kind of left them the way that they are. Anyway, back to paint applications. His face, you don't really have, and my camera still isn't wanting to focus. Are you kidding me? Like, it's a little bit better, but come on. It doesn't want to focus. Still, it might be just because of everything in the background again still. But you can still see it a little clearer. But anyway, face is not your typical Skeletor greenish, yellowish face. It's more of a darkish, gray, you know, bone ivory color. But it looks good on the figure. I will say it does look very good on the figure. I like the way it looks. It's got all kinds of different, like, you know, shades, and if that's dry brushing, I'm not sure. His teeth are a little more of a whiter, creamy ivory bone color. And then, of course, in the nose and in the sides of the jaw and the eyes, you actually have a very glossy black. Again, up here for his crossbones, you have all different kinds of purples going on. Purple down here for his belt. Cape, purple. Black for the straps, pretty much. Looks great all the way around. You even have like a little bit of like, almost like a lightly touch of like, it almost looks like brown shading up in this part. You can kind of see it. But overall, paint apps are great on this guy. Moving on to detail, looks great. Again, not as jacked as we know Masters of the Universe figures to be, but still a heavy muscle man nonetheless. Biceps, abs, pecs, down here in his legs and his thighs. Just, you know, all that muscle detailing in the back there. You can remove his armor and his cape if you wanted. Those are removable parts, but then he would just have the hood. Got all the studs and like the bat design here. And then, of course, the crossbones look really good. You got all the studs in the straps. Down here on the belt, his loincloth, you have the studs. His arms, you have these very nice, you know, like armor scaling spike details on the forearms. Look really good. Again, face, very, you know, skull. It's not your just traditional skull. You can definitely tell that this is Skeletor, at least a version of him. Hood, very nicely done. Even actually has texture to make it look like cloth. Very nice wrinkles and whatnot throughout that mold. His cape itself is actually a piece of cloth. It is not plastic. So, you know, you have that going on. There's been always a lot of controversy throughout the years. People like cloth capes. People like plastic capes. I actually am on the side of, I really don't mind cloth capes. If they're done really well. And I mean, this cape's okay. It's just very straight edged. You know, it has no like ripples or anything to it or any type of detailing around the edge to give it more like of a characteristic, you know, animated. Again, I'm not sure if that's the right word I'm looking for. But sometimes you get a little bit more out of the plastic rubber capes because they can detail them and wrinkle them and whatnot, but here you just have a flat piece of cloth. But you know, sometimes, you know, the cloth capes do work for certain figures, you know, whether it may be on a Star Wars figure, whatnot. Sometimes cloth capes do work. I want to say maybe I would have preferred a rubber cape for this guy, but I still don't mind the cloth. It does give this Skeletor a little bit more, you know, it makes him feel a little more characteristic, animated. If that's even the word I'm looking for. You know, he even got his belly button down in there for detail. I mean, overall, just a good looking Skeletor. All the knuckles and everything on the feet look really good. Hands, fingers, all that just looks great. Moving now on to articulation. He can look up ever so far, and then he can look down. He can look left and right. You can spin that all the way around if you want to. You can get a little bit of a head tilt out of him, not much. His arms at the shoulders can rotate forward and backward and bend outwards. His elbows are on a nice double joint, so you get really nice range of movement out of those elbows. It's not a really good double joint, but it is double jointed. He does have a bicep swivel as well. Hands can rotate and are on a hinge. So really nice range of movement in the arms. He does have an ab crunch, so you can kick him backward, you can kick him forward, you can rock him side to side. And then, of course, you can kind of rotate it. Not really. You can get a little bit of rotation out of it, but not a whole heck of a lot. It kind of just goes back and springs back to where it is. I'm not really sure how I feel about this part of the figure being like a separate piece, because you kind of just, when you go to pose him, you want it to line up good. And if it's not, it'll just be like off kilter and looks really bad. So you always got to make sure that that is lined up the way they did that. I wish that that was all just one piece so you didn't have that issue, but it's just a really minor nitpick. Waist joint, you can rotate them side to side all the way around if you want to. At the legs, at the hips, he can kick forward actually really well. Kick backward ever so much. You know, the loincloth mold gets in the way of that movement. He can do the Eternia splits. So you got that going on. He can do the Eternia splits. He does have a cut at the thigh that you can see there. So you can rotate him at the thigh right there as well as at the hip. Knees are double jointed. Get a good range of bend out of those knees. He does have a boot cut or a shin cut since he's really not wearing boots. But he does have a shin cut. So you can rotate those. And down at the feet are on a hinge. You can tilt his feet downward. You can tilt them upward. And then you can rotate them for a pivot. So pretty decent articulation on this guy. Can get him into all different kinds of wild poses. Again, when these figures dropped, Mattel, to advertise the figures as well as the show, they did like these stop motion videos, and boy, like these figures in like fluid stop motion like that look fantastic. I wish I was really skilled in stop motion, because I would love to make stop motion movies. Me and my friend Lawrence have dabbled in it, and we've wanted to do stop motion films, but it kind of got away from us. So maybe that's something that we definitely have to pick back up later on in the future. Going to take a look at his Havoc staff here. I must say, definitely one of my favorite Havoc staffs. I love the way the ram skull looks. It looks very evil. The mold for it. I love the way the horns are sculpted. They just look great from any angle. But a very evil looking ram skull. Again, you have a lot of purples for the Havoc staff. Even in the skull itself, it's almost like purple and gray mixed together. And then, of course, you have blacks in the eyes and the nose. It's got fangs on the teeth, giving it more, you know, of an evil look for sure. You got all this nice detailing here in the staff itself that looks really great. And then, of course, you have the little bottom, you know, ball part here. Fits in his hand very well. You might have to mess with it a little bit because the Havoc staff is top heavy. That ram skull is a solid piece of plastic vinyl, and it is heavy. So depending on how you have it, as you can see, it really likes to just lean, you know, depending on how you have it, it really it leans whatever way that ram skull is going to lean. So you really got to work with his legs and whatnot to get him to really stand with it correctly, or however you want to pose him. You know, you can pose him any sort of way that you want, and he just looks great. Not going to go into scaling with these guys. Again, not really what I do, but still, he will scale in well with anything in classics for sure. And then he will also scale in with other figures from the Masterverse line for Revelations. So anyway, you guys, like always, we are Godzilla fan freaks. Hope you enjoyed my review on the Masters of the Universe Revelations Skeletor from the Masterverse line. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Atomic blast that notification bell. Don't forget to like and follow Godzilla Fan Freaks on Facebook. And don't forget to follow Godzilla Fan Freaks on Instagram. And of course, stay tuned weekly for my weekly episodes of Kaiju Chill O'Clock that I do live. So anyway, you guys, we are Godzilla Fan Freaks, and we will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.